Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 10.1 in-class review. Now, if you guys have your little sheets that we used in class to help draw our line of best fit from yesterday, please make sure to have that out, okay? It was that little see-through paper. Okay, number one. Number one says the scatter plot below demonstrates the relationship between the elevation of a city and the average number of clear days for that city. And clear days means that there are days with no clouds or precipitation. What are they talking about? Well, do you guys know what elevation is? Elevation normally talks about if this is the sea, and they're saying that the higher, like different cities are higher than others, okay? So if we have city 1, and we'll say city 2 is up here, that the higher it is from the sea level, here's our sea level, it's saying that there are going to be less clouds, or that it'll have more clear days, okay? So this graph is what that says. So the first thing we want to do is describe the correlation between the elevation and the average clear days. What do you think that is? Okay, we talked about first, is it positive or is it negative? Well, which way is the graph going? You tell me. Overall, I think it tends to be going, yeah, I think it's positive. But what type of correlation is it? Is it weak? Is it moderate? Is it strong? Is it perfect? Well, what I would say is that the correlation is, first off, it's positive. So positive, and it's not strong, it's not perfect, and I don't think it's weak. I would say that it is moderate. Okay, and if you wanted to be lazy and write it a little bit quicker, you could say that the correlation is moderately positive. Okay? Now, B says to draw a line of best fit. So I want you guys to draw your own line, okay? Remember that you want half of the points above and half of the points below, okay? Make sure your line follows the pattern, okay? There are 12 points. I don't want you to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, look, I drew a line that has half above and half below. You did, but that doesn't follow our pattern at all, so that would not be acceptable, okay? So see if you can draw a line that fits that, okay? You can pause the video if you want to. Okay, so do you guys have your line? Awesome. Now, I want you to compare that line to my points, okay? I'm going to use the points 1090 and 3110. So let's see, are these points already on here? So 1090, so here's my 1 point that I'm going to use, and I said 3110. So I'm going to draw a line that goes through those 2 points. And let's see how it compares to yours. I'm using my straight edge. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 points above, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points below, but then my line goes through 3 of them. How does your line compare to that? Is it pretty good? And that's what that next part would say, circle. Which one is it? Are your lines the same? Are they similar? And they're not very similar. if they're not very similar, you have to remember that your line needs to follow the pattern of the graph. Okay, and that's what we kind of talked about before we drew it. All right. Now, use the points given in part C to write the equation for the line of best fit. So there are two steps for when we're doing this. Remember that step one, we need to find the slope. Okay, so let's find the slope. Remember that y's go on top. So we have 110 minus 90, and then the x's go on the bottom. 3,000 minus 1,000. Well, 110 minus 90, that is 20. And 3,000 minus 1,000 is 2,000. Did any of your calculators reduce that? Yeah, mine got 1 over 100. Now, here's the thing. When we're getting to such high numbers like that, like we said before, yes, fractions are nice, except when they look like this. This is not a nice fraction. A nice fraction, 1/2, 3/4, 2/5. Those are nice fractions. 1 over 100, nope, not nice. I want the decimal. Okay, and the decimal would be 0.1 or 0.01. Okay, so now that we got step one and we've got our slope, do you guys remember what step two was? So we had to do y minus your y equals the slope x minus your x. This is where we plug in the slope, and then we have to pick a point. It doesn't matter which one, okay? So I'm going to put my slope where it goes. Which point do you guys want to use? I'm going to use the one with smaller numbers. So I'm going to use the 90 and 1,000. Okay? So the first thing that we would do is distribute. So we're going to do that, and we get y minus 90 equals 0.01x minus, well, 1 times or 0.01 times 1,000 is 10. And the last thing that we would do is add 90 to both sides. And we get our final answer of y equals 0.01x plus 80. Okay, so we've got our equation. Now, using your equation, estimate the number of clear days a city will have if its elevation is 4,000 feet above sea level. Well, before we do any of this, I need to know what's my x and what's my y. So my x is the horizontal axis, so they're saying that x is elevation, so that means that my y is the average number of days. So x is the elevation of, I want to make sure I spell that right, elevation, and y is the number of clear days. So it's telling me to estimate the number of clear days when its elevation is 4,000 feet. So they're telling me that x equals 4,000 and we have to find y, okay? And the way we do that is by using our equation. Okay, and we're gonna plug in the number 4,000. Okay, you guys can do that. What's your final answer? When we got it, we got 120, but 120 what? Chickens? Burritos? No, 120 days. All right, so for F, I want to do the same thing. It says using your equation, estimate the elevation, and remember, elevation was the X, if the average number of clear days is 200. So this time, X we don't know, but Y equals 200. So if I'm using that same equation, we're saying that 200 equals 0.01x plus 80. And the way that we solve this is we're going to solve this by using SADMET. Okay, so cancel out the addition first. And we get 120 equals 0.01x. And to get the x all by itself, we have to divide, and we're going to divide by 0.01. Okay? And then what'd you get? We got 12,000. Okay? So our answer would be 12,000 feet. Okay? And if you wanted to be really, really fancy, you could say 12,000 feet above sea level. Okay, but 12,000 feet is fine. Okay, let's flip it over. Let's go ahead and read that together. It says studies have shown that people who suffer a heart attack have a better chance of survival if they receive a defibrillator shock soon after their attack. What's a defibrillator? Have you guys ever seen the movies where they're in an ambulance and they're rubbing those metal things together and they go clear, and then they shock you? That's what they're talking about here. Okay, so they're saying that if a person has a heart attack, the sooner they get this, well, what happens? Well, I don't know. Well, oh, there's a big empty graph. Oh, that means we've got to graph the points. Okay, so the survival rate, this is going to be our Y. So I'm going to write Y over here. And the minutes after, that's our X. So minutes, it looks like we can, well, the highest number is 11. So we normally start at 0. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we can go all the way to 13. And what are we going to do for survival rates? Well, the highest number I see is 90, but the highest survival rate, wouldn't that be 100%? Yeah, so 100 is going to be the highest, and to get there, we can count by tens. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to plot all of the points and then do A and B, okay? Tell me what the correlation is and do the line of best fit. All right, pause the video and good luck. Okay, so there are all the points. You guys should have your line there. And what do you say about the correlation? Is it positive or negative? Good, it's negative and it's strong, okay? Those points are pretty close together. I can understand if you said moderate, but I think the best way to describe those is strong, okay? Now, I want you to compare your line with this line using the points 555 and 645. And let's see, 645 is that point right there, and 555 is right there, okay? So I'm going to draw a line going through those 2 points, and you guys should be doing the same thing as well. And let's see what we get. Okay, that's how mine looks, and I've got 2 points. I'm going through 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and the other ones are very, very close. Okay. Now yours might be look a little different depending if you drew mega points like I did or if you drew smaller points. Okay. So that's fine. It doesn't matter what kind you draw. Now, next part, you guys are all on your own for part D. Okay. You're going to use those 2 points that we just talked about, and you're going to find one, we have to find the slope. And so you're going to tell me what your slope is. And then step 2, we have to plug in to the equation using your slope and 2 of the points, okay? And when you're done, you'll have y equals whatever your final answer is, okay? So go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, so you should have gotten y equals negative 10x plus 105. And if you didn't get that, please make sure to double check your work with my work. All right, so we're going to pause the video again in a second after we read these 2 questions. So remember, the 2 things that we need to know is what is your x and what is your y, okay? So for this one, x was the minutes after the attack, and y is the survival rate, all right? So if the survival rate is 60, so that's our y, how many minutes we're trying to find our x? So they're saying, I don't know what x is, y is 60, okay? So you would set that up as 60 equals the negative 10x plus 105, all right? And the next one would say, do you think a person would have a good chance of surviving a heart attack if the defibrillator shock is given how many minutes? 15 minutes. Okay, so that's our x. So right here, they're telling us that x is 15. Find out what y is. All right, so, and then you need to defend your answer by using a complete sentence and mathematical evidence. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and do those 2 all on your own. Okay, and there you go. So for E, you should have gotten 4.5 minutes. And for F, you end up getting negative 15. Ugh, negative 15? Do you have a chance of survival? No. Okay, and it's because mathematically the chances are less than 0. Okay, now if you have any questions on that or anything else discussed in this video, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, that's it for Algebra Unit 10.1 in class review. Thanks for watching.